About 20 years ago, a teenager in southwestern Queensland found an unusual rock while mustering sheep. The family then went searching for more unusual rocks to discover numerous dinosaur fossils dating back 95 million years. That was the start of the Eromanga Natural History Museum, which now has an internationally recognised fossil collection. It's an amazing place. If you get the chance to go, you should. But what would you do if you found an unusual rock or an Indigenous artefact, maybe like an axe head or a spear point? If you're on the beach or you're bushwalking, what would you do? Pick it up, take it home, call a museum, leave it there for someone else to make that decision? It's a question Sally Hurst asked herself after completing degrees in paleontology and archaeology at Macquarie Uni. And she's established the Found a Fossil project. Hello, Sally.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
It's a delight to have you. Have you ever found a fossil?
I have found a few. Mostly they have been on beaches where there might be coral embedded in rocks. But as a paleontologist, I'm very lucky that I do also get to travel to go digging up dinosaurs in different places around the world. So it's very cool being able to tell kids that, yes, I have found a dinosaur fossil.
I'll bet it is. Now, tell me about Found a Fossil project. Does it help answer some of those questions about what to do if you find a fossil?
That's definitely the main aim of the project and the website that's associated with it. So when I was studying, exactly as you said, I asked myself, what would I do if we ever found a fossil on our family farm or on the beach? And I didn't have an answer. And after trying to do a Google to find out what you were meant to do, I left even more confused and figured that if me with my degrees in these kind of fields and knowing how to do research was really struggling to find this information, then it's likely that, if you're a bushwalker or a farmer who doesn't have this background, it's going to be even harder to find that information. And so that was why I created the Found a Fossil website. So it's got very clear guidelines on what to do. And if you find a fossil or a First Nations artefact, they are both things that can be found on country and across the landscape. And often they're not found by First Nations people or by scientists. They are found by everyday listeners. And so it's really good for people to know what to do if they do come across something.
Because I'm talking to you now, can you tell me what they are in a nutshell? What is the first thing you should do if you found either of those things?
Yeah, so if you have found a fossil, just keep in mind what kind of land you are on. So if you're on your own family farm, then chances are you basically own that fossil. You get to decide what happens with it. With that, we definitely recommend take lots of photos, put a little GPS point on your phone. So if it does turn out to be the next big dinosaur find, you remember where it is. I think especially on some of those big Queensland stations or elsewhere in the country, you're gonna kick yourself if you can't remember where you found this really cool fossil. And you can contact somewhere like a museum or a university, send them those photos to try and get it identified to see if it is the next big thing. If it is for something like a First Nations artefact or site, it's probably going to be a little bit different. The legislation is quite different for this kind of heritage. So first things first, you generally want to leave that object where it is. An uncle of mine who owns a farm described it as, if you pick something up off country where maybe, if you are on a bushwalk, for example, you pick it up, put it in your pocket, take it home, put it on your own mantelpiece. To me, it's a little bit like going into someone else's house and taking a picture off their wall and then taking it back to your house and putting it on your wall. So for you, it may not be something that belongs to you, and it might be significant to other people. So same thing, record the details, take lots of photos, mark where the GPS is, and then seek advice. So that might be from your local Indigenous community or land council. Get in touch with your traditional owners or your state heritage department, and they'll be able to provide some more information on who you need to contact or what needs to happen next if that find does need to be catalogued.
Sally, I have a question that's come in from Phil at Kogarah, and he wants to know how you know if you've got a fossil. And I'm sorry, we have to be really quick with this.
A lot of the time, fossils do look like rocks. If you're not sure, take photos. You can send them to me or send them to a museum anyway, and we'll be able to tell you what it is.
Great advice. Thank you very much, Sally Hurst, for your project, which is called Found a Fossil, and you do have a website that goes with that as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sally Hurst is a paleontologist and archaeologist, and she has established the Found a Fossil project, which gives you advice on what to do if you find something that may be an unusual rock or an Indigenous artefact. What should you do? First of all, take lots of photos and then take a GPS on your phone as well so that you can go back to it and find it, but then send it off and ask for some help. Great idea, absolutely great idea, because most fossil finds, as she pointed out, don't come from scientists. They actually come from everyday regular people, farmers, miners, bushwalkers, people who are just, fossicking for shells on the beach can find these interesting things. And that website is foundafossil.com. Just put it in your search engine and you'll find it. ABC Local Radio.